Hello, everyone. I'm going to adjust the camera again. There we go. Happy Thursday. Post Federal Reserve rate cut. Good morning, Sterling. Thank you for putting in all the news. We had to sell off Adobe's flat, but Oracle missing on revenue, cash flow issues. That's also why there's credit default swaps have been rising, but we shall see. We shall see, won't we? What else? Let me adjust that. Hold on one second. Let me make a little adjustment here. There we go. There we go. All right. What else? You got a lot of other news. We had initial and continuing jobless claims. Huge drop in continuous jobless claims. I got to look into that more. I haven't had a chance yet, but not saying that's not a good thing, but that seems like a very weird drop to me. That's a huge drop. Consensus was 1950, coming in at 1838. Prior was 1937. I mean, that is an astronomical jump for continuing jobless claims. And initial jobless claims up. So I got to look into those numbers a little more. Good morning, Patrick. So, what else? What else? I'm just trying to find and putting in lots of information. Good morning, Heinrich. What is this? Oracle bond words. Oracle 5-year credit default swaps. There, see you go. One up 139 basis points, up from nearly 12 basis points. See, that's a big jump. That is a big jump. Excuse me, my nose is running. Global. So let's see what else. Now I can find the people. Good morning, David. Hello, Charles. Good morning, Royal Palms. Still hate Fed days. If we got rid of the Fed, you wouldn't have Fed days. We'd still have rate hikes and cuts. See, did anybody watch Jim and Bob's interview of Sri Kumar on Futures Edge? It was streaming on X yesterday afternoon. If not, go back and watch it, please. Thought it was excellent. I actually agree with a lot of what Sri Kumar says, especially the dual mandate, how you can't have the two mandates. You can only. So you should get rid of this employment thing. Completely agree. He still he thinks you should go rules based, which I've talked about for years. I think you go rule based and you don't need a Fed. And he thinks you still want a Fed around because he's old school. But my contention, that's the only thing I disagree with him, because my contention is you'd put somebody else in charge of the Fed who'd tweak and get rid of the rule. And we'd be back to having this absolutely disastrous Fed. Whether you agree with the rate cut or not, their messaging changes moment to moment. They're all over the place. They're inconsistent. They just want to do what they want to do. Yeah, we had 3 dissents, one for a 50 basis point cut, 2 for a pause. But then if you look in what was released in the dot plots, you should have more dissents. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, you're going to have to completely reform this institution or get rid of it. Completely reform it. So, good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Christoph. Good morning, Balaji. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Mark. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be trading at 1 a.m., Charles. S&P 500 fourth chart, is that a double top? What? 1,400 hours and 1,700 hours. Totally confused. So spread out over a period. If you can set me up right. We'll take a look. Good morning, Holy. Good morning, Tony. You just have to remind me on Netflix. Oh boy, hold on. Come on. There we go. The RSP equal weighted S&P is breaking out to all-time highs. Thank you for putting that in there, Christoph. All right. Powell, we're going to buy $40 billion in treasuries. Also, Powell, we're not doing quantitative easing. Well, no, because it's only to keep liquidity in the system. The system needs more liquidity. So all right. At some point, this is all going to end very, very poorly. Don't know when that is. but it will end very, very poorly. What else do we have today? Not much. Not much. Wholesale inventories, your natty gas stock change, uh, and the Fed balance sheet after close. Tomorrow, goody, 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 we get to listen to more Fed speak. Yay for us on a Friday. Way to ruin a Friday, guys. But that's jumping a little ahead. Oracle getting shellacked. Continuing weekly rotation zone holding and moving on down. Mega caps besides Apple all down. Chips, remember we got Broadcom after the close. What's going on with Lilly today? Groups, let's just do a quick refresh of this. Technology leading the way down, consumer cyclical, also energy, comm services, but we got healthcare and real estate, consumer defensive, so it's definitely headed in the open as risk off. Fed watch, which we don't have another meeting, thank goodness, for 48 days, but it's for a pause at this point. Fear mode still. Schiller PE 4057. Broadcom, Lululemon, Costco, Restoration Hardware. So it's going to be a very interesting after the hours. Lululemon, higher end athleisure wear. Restoration hardware, higher end, especially with furniture. That's going to be interesting with the tariff thing, how that affects Restoration Hardware. Then what do we have? Costco. Well, we all know Costco. And Broadcom from the AI chip perspective. Not anything tomorrow unless you're trading Johnson Outdoors. Oh, boy. Good morning, OD Green. So, is this a 4-hour double top? Yes, technically it's extended and it's a little sloppy, but it does technically qualify. It's been confirmed, but not officially triggered on a 4-hour basis. Don't go less than a 4-hour basis on that. Where would that potentially take us? I'll show a couple things. That would potentially take us all the way back to the 50 EMA. So is that disaster? No, remember the key line in the sand is all the way back at 66, 68. Even before that, the 50% harmonic. Right now, I want to point out something else. There was a 4-hour percent B buy. Okay, now if this rotates back up here, it's off the table. Officially, if it gets back above, if I can draw today, it's a rough morning. If it gets back above 68.8650, the confirmed double is off the table. Or if it closes above 68.7725, where it already spiked off this morning, if it closes above there, this double's been invalidated without triggering. Please keep that in mind. All right. I'm just trying to go through. So it has been confirmed. Remember yesterday with the Oracle stuff last night, look where we spiked to. Bottom of the rotation zone. Setting up that little percent B buy. So we do have a little mixed signals going into the open. We do still have weekly cycles headed up. This market is looking very, very toppy though. But is there a major sell signal besides the massive potential double top? No. If this does turn back around and officially trigger this little double top, yes, it is tradable to the short side, and I'd really be focusing on the area of that 50 EMA and the prior major support level right below that. My level, if we do bounce up, besides triggering that percent B buy, I'm going to be watching those levels I pointed out to invalidate the double. But key for me is 68.90. And if it can rally back above 68.90, we're looking at yesterday's high 69.07 and 69.25. And that's not just for today, that's for tomorrow unless we triggered a double. Talk about mixed signals, a double top percent B buy. Well, the double top was not, remember, it's mixed signals, but the double top was not triggered yet. Now, if we got momentum into the open and we started breaking below this key low again, this 68.30.75 area, it could be traded on momentum, but I would not hold it unless that double officially triggered. Why are you saying there's too much manipulation on gold? There isn't. Okay, dark screen. Do we get to push the 7K? I think a lot of people are so focused on that with the, are we going to get the Santa Claus rally to push us to 7K? Would I be fighting it, especially if we can break above this 68.90 area again? No, I'm not fighting anything. Again, I said I could not get short. If we did get some momentum, that would be a very short term, just, short play. But other than that, can't get short. Can't get overly short in this market unless something shifts. I could, if we start getting below 66, 68.50 on a closing basis, I could be more sustained short. Other than that, the rotation zone's still holding on the daily basis. And then it would just be a drop into other key support areas. Crude oil has been manipulated since September. Well, that's why I have no trade in crude. I mean, I've said crappy setups. Remember, a market does not have to be trading favorably to you, does not mean it's manipulated. Sometimes they're just like crude. Here's crude. Coming back, there's going to be another floor put in here because there's going to be a lot of stuff shut off if we break down. But weekly rotation zone still holding. Has this been good trading, though? It's been popping in the weekly rotation zone, but the shorts haven't even been following through. It's been, so that's what I'm saying. When I see a market like this, you know what? I go pass. Nobody forces me to trade crude. So why do I need to trade it? Unless for some reason I was only in one market. But gold. By the way, the potential double is off the table. The potential double top, triple top now. Still holding the rotation zone. So the never confirmed or triggered double. And just because we had it, remember, we still have the magnet price 43.30, 43.35.9. So in the highly manipulated, it's obviously they're doing it to you because I'm not a swing trader like you. Well, then what? How is that manipulated though? It's just caught in a sideways market right now. You've probably been trying to short it too, which when you got the rising rotation zone, shorts are really tough. NASDAQ spiking down just below the bottom of the rotation zone and bouncing up. There was not a potential double top here. It was already a triple top. There was a percent B buy in the NASDAQ also, the last 4-hour bar. Key level is 25,790. If we do start breaking below 25,485 again, I'm looking at the spike lows and this other key area right around 25,350, same as yesterday. If we broke down below that, my next key target is the 50 EMA, about 25,160 area. So, what is this? Posting for follow-up question. Visa up 1.46 pre-market as Fitch rating says Visa will outpace traditional payment providers. Okay. Oh my God, dark screen. I don't know why you bother tuning in. Yeah, so does everything. It's just very reliable. That's why I use it. And is anything 100%? No. Doubles aren't 100%. We've never pretended they are. Percent B buys aren't 100%. Harmonic is even the 62.5 to 87.5 rule isn't 100%. Nothing's 100%. It works until it doesn't. But I wouldn't fight it. Okay? Don't fight the rotation zone. You're swimming against the current. By the way, Dow does have a mini potential double top. It does. It would have to close back below 47,859. Other than that, it's still, again, because you have a potential does not mean you even short it. This may never trigger. It may become invalidated. The trend is still up. Where have we spiked? We came into before the rotation zone. And yesterday was technically a percent beat buy on a daily basis and rotation zone buy in the Dow. We pulled back a little, creating a potential double top that's not triggered yet. And would only take us potentially to the bottom of the rotation zone. But the Dow is falling through still on a percent beat buy. Next target, 48,370. Then the highs. And then if we break above the highs, 49,161 is the next major level. Russell. Again, yesterday breaking out through the corrective channel with the Fed meeting. I don't think this is in potential double top territory. Not yet. Not yet. The targets on the Russell back to 2580 area. And if it breaks to new highs, you got 2600 is the magnet price in the Russell. Very on any pullback. Let me just bring this level down because this is where on any pullback I'll be watching about 2535 to about 2530 for key support. VIX dropping back down. Rotation zone holding. Nothing to talk about yet. Now, if we do spike above yesterday's high, I'll sit up and take notice that we could be getting a more sustained short-term pullback, like maybe that double top triggered. DAX, little dip in the rotation zone, rotating back up. We still have the next magnet price of 24,400. Yes, technically 24,409, but I'm going to get 24,400. The yields dropping today. The 30-year, we have the little mini double, which was triggered, not invalidated on the bounce, so we could see further pullback in the yields in the short term. We already looked at crude, natty gas. We did have a potential percent beat buy. Does not look like it's going to trigger. So since that didn't trigger, now I'm going to be watching for key support, what could be setting up a potential head and shoulders top. It may never trigger. We're not even there yet, but I'm watching this key support area back around 4.25 because nothing triggered on a potential bounce back pattern, and we have returned to the weekly rotation zone. So, natty gas perspective, patience. Gold, if we start breaking above 42.74 and can turn that into support, 43.36. Silver continued to march higher to the next key harmonic. We're at another key harmonic between 63, the 6306 area to 6394. Keep in mind, silver is getting insanely overextended again. It would be trailing for me. Okay. Copper trying to rotate back up. So this would be a great little area. Again, copper's holding rotation zone. What do we have here? A potential double top. But that's for any short-term stops. We have a great area below 531. Dollar index, dollar dropping, playing out. Got a lot of pressure on the dollar this morning after the dovish Fed. So, again, the key line in the sand is 97. Roscoe, you're snoring too much, buddy. 97. Hold on, Rossi. 97.30. 97.30 is key on the closing basis. So, still be patient, watching to see if we get a bottoming setup closer to the play out of the double. First target already hit. Euro. Double triggered back to the rotation zone. Yesterday, we've already hit the first target now for a stop raise in the euro. What else? We don't need, there's not much to talk about with the yen right now. Little pop up here. Has not followed through yet. Did not get to double top territory either. So just, I think that barely missed. Yep. All right, we'll get to Visa in a second. Bitcoin testing the bottom end of the channel again. Ethereum finished the double. Finished the double bottom yesterday. And done. Spiders gap down today. Key support still 681.35 area, which 681.31 was yesterday's low. So that still holds on a gap up. Still this right where we're opening, 685.33. It's opening 685.32. That's key. Above there it would be to the gap fill 687.57. Okay. Need to flip these around too. If we take that out, then it's the all-time highs, and if you break above that, the next major price is 694.50. The Qs gap down today, very key support. This 620.80 area. Break below there, I'd be likely for the return to the bottom of the rotation zone. But if that holds, we rally into this 625.65 area. Still, I'm watching, and then to the gap fill 627.61. Then the magnet price is 629.98. Take a look at Visa. Well, it appears to be in no man's land, but with this news and signs of volatility, how do you think has a massive potential weekly double top? I mean, it does. In no man's land right now, however, from this last little run up, if it today or yesterday it did close below the 62.5. So yeah, you got a little news. It could easily pop to 337. But would I be getting long this? There's no long signal yet. There's no long signal. That's on the weekly. That was last week. Today, even on a pop, I'd be paying attention to this weekly rotation zone. For another potential rollover play, the magnet price is still technically down to 308. Does that mean the double's going to trigger? No. But it's something very interesting. This has to do some decent lifting. It'd have to get above the weekly rotation zone and sustain back above this 338 area for me to be interested in anything from the long side. Well, could you go all the way to EM 50? Wait, in what market, Charles? Netflix. Thank you, Royal Palms. Netflix. Well, here's your weekly still. Remember last week closed below 62.5. So you still have 88.61. It's already hit the 75. So still there. On any pops? Still, we don't have a strong bottoming formation yet. You have the negative rotation zone on the daily and on the weekly. Other than that, I'd be paying attention to 88.61 to roughly this key too low. This was a head and shoulders here that never triggered. So I'd still be watching that. It's not valid anymore, of course, but I'd be watching that for key support if we break below 88.61. Because if you lose this level, 82.65, we could be in for a reconnection with the 200. And on a long-term harmonic level, Look at where the 62.5 is. So that's going to be interesting for a long-term thing. But we're nowhere close to that yet because we're still coming into key support. I don't have time today. I get how it could have been handled. I mean, the yesterday was just this. It was the momentum trade, and then stalling out, just above the prior highs, and then we had the. This is all due to Oracle. This is all due to Oracle. That has nothing to do with the Fed stuff. So you had an interesting thing, but once it broke below the 68.85, that was pretty. It was like, uh oh, that was not good. So, it was just here's what I was looking at. You had to do it on a very short term chart. You see this when we started to rebase above here, rebase above the 68.85 level. We started to get above there. That was a little minor breakout play into a minor double top there, which is also in short term. I would not recommend trading for most people Fed moves. I'd trade the longer term moves. Would not recommend it. It is, unless you just want to trade very small, with some gambling money, would not recommend it. You don't hear the dog snore? Well, thank you. Can CAG return to 16? Can it? Let's see. Yeah. Conagra can return to 16 potentially or more. Now, you do have a little mini potential double against the rotation zone. That's the only bullish setup. Otherwise, look at it grind lower. So, do you have a little mini potential bullish setup? Yeah, but this could easily go still lower. Now, it's from a valuation standpoint, it's got a great dividend yield and a very low PE. So, this is one that's on my long-term watch list. Okay, it has not still shifted. I am keeping an eye very close on this double, though. SEZL and affirm, please. Then I gotta start. What is SE? Sezzle? Oh my gosh. I don't even. I'm sorry. There's another vertical up, vertical down. I'd be paying attention to this 84 area on any continued pop. But there's, besides your little percent B weekly buy that's followed through in the rotation zone, that's about it. I'd still be looking, unless it can sustain back above 84, I'd still be looking for rollover plays. Affirm. See how often I look at Affirm. There's not much there unless it starts popping above 72 and can follow through with a close on a weekly close above 72. Oracle sucks. There's some good analysis. Oracle into the weekly rotation zone, back down. Remember, we still closed below 62.5, and there was a little minor double that you couldn't trade it easily going into earnings. But what are the magnet prices on Oracle? 175.50 area, then 147.25 area. Could we easily see Oracle connecting with the 200 over the next couple months? Sure. Would I be, unless we were to turn around and I don't know if this will even remain a potentially valid double bottom. That's the only thing that where I'd be looking for anything bullish. Other than that, magnet prices are lower. I'd be looking for short setups. The liquidity is much better in the ZB futures, Christoph. All right. Well, thank you, Charles. Yeah. Buy everything's buy now, pay later. When people are doing that with groceries, there's a problem. All right, I got to run. I've got to run. So I shall talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now. Hold on, what was this? In your experience, a confirmed double, is that an indication percentage wise? In your experience, confirmed double, is that an indication percentage wise will trigger most likely? No. You have a lot of confirmed doubles that do not trigger. There is no guarantee it will trigger. So you cannot trade off if you're trading off a confirmation, that's where if it does not, I don't get a trigger relatively soon, I don't hold it if I'm trading off a confirmation. You're welcome, Mark. You're welcome, Charles. We can talk about that. Remind me, Heinrich. We can talk about that more possibly tomorrow. Bye for now.